Hey everyone, so it's been a while since I have done anything related to Kerbal Space Program at all. Uh, Probably it's got to be at least a year, I think, and it's honestly probably been like a year since I've properly touched Kerbal Space Program, and a lot has happened recently and has been going on, which concerns like personal life, family life, personal health, and mental health and stuff. But it's just now that a lot has happened and there's stuff I do want to share. So this is gonna be kind of like an unscripted, just random slap together video talking about what happened, how things have been going, and just kind of like updating and probably honestly just a checklist of like projects to keep in mind for myself, so I have like somewhere I'm keeping track of them. But yeah, to first thing I want to like start off with sharing, or actually, I'll go ahead and start like what 1 year, yeah, 2 years ago. So about 2 years ago, there was sort of an incident where my mental health just really struggled in my third year in my undergraduate for mechanical engineering, and that ended up with me going to a hospital to be in like a psych ward for like I think it was like 5 days, and it was like right during the Thanksgiving break, fall break, because like I got out like the day before Thanksgiving, and sort of like a lot of stuff has gone on from then, and then like it's just a whole like mess of like conflict with friends, and then just self-esteem and like confidence just did not improve at all, even if I did start seeing like a therapist and like changing up how my psych meds roll. And but anyway, so fast forward like the literally like around the same time in the beginning of August, uh which would be like literally a year ago from when I'm recording this right now on August 2nd, because today is actually the anniversary for it, because around this time last year my dad passed away suddenly, and it wasn't something we were my family were expecting at all. It was kind of sudden because they were planning on like a beach trip while my sister was just you know going to her job, and I was just taking my summer classes down at my university campus. And they were planning, like the family was planning on their own without me and my sister, just to go to a beach. But just something happened in the morning and he passed away, and it it hit not it was not great for my mental health. Honestly, it was pretty terrible. uh like like I have my problems with my dad. Like childhood was rough, and like definitely did not help and probably contributed to how my mental health is. But it's not like I still didn't love him. Like I know he loved me and my sister and the family so much, and like if anything, and like he showed it a lot with like financial support and like what he did. But I think it's just kind of like the trauma of like being an immigrant family, where like sort of the especially being, because it was like coming from like the shocks of like the Vietnam War too. So like sort of just, I guess, I don't know what I'm saying. Just sort of like kind of generational trauma of like not properly processing emotions. But Anyway, yeah. So, uh, my father passed away, and honestly, to this point, I don't think I've properly processed his death. But like adding on to it, the friend group I had from like the beginning of college, like my second semester, like that basically fell apart by the fall semester for that happened. Like the fall semester was literally like 2 weeks after my father died. So going into that, at some point, the initial friend group I had in college, like I wouldn't say fell apart, but I kind of lost touch, sort of. Like, there's part of me that imagined there was like there's probably like some like toxic behavior of mine of like being overly reliant emotionally, but it's just I got busy too, and like we weren't doing as much because they were all like in different majors that like did not share anything with the buildings I went to. But I did start hanging around a lot more with some other friends I made at college, specifically in the engineering department, and then I joined one of their clubs, an engineering club, and then another engineering club I was kind of a part of, but never really took off. That got taken over by like a whole bunch of people who were like they 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 had time to get a lot more done, so I took more part in that and got heavily involved, and that kind of led to some uh like because it's a rocketry club and then another's an RC plane club, so I got a lot of stuff done there with rockets within L1 and L2 Tripoli certification, which I'll probably. It's not important. Maybe I'll cut in like some footage over here. I'll share those. But anyways, like there was a whole bunch of personal projects. I got into 3D printing with like some projects on the side for that. And between the 2025 fall semester to 2026 spring semester, like basically lost friend group, kind of got a new one. I met like I probably do have like a smaller friend group now, although I don't think I ever was good at having any more than a few very close friends. And even then, like it's probably like self-doubt and like lack of like self-confidence or like insecurities, but even I still think right now that I still rely on them too much emotionally, but it's I try to manage. And God, that reminds me, there was like a whole fiasco too of like the year my dad died. There was a whole thing of like getting grinder and like hooking up with a bunch of like people, some that are like more than a decade older than me. That was such a bad decision. I don't know why the hell. Fun fact, I'll just throw that in, right? um and God, like there was a whole thing of like relationships or like kind of chasing relationships. Like I've got like interpersonal problems there that I'm still working with my therapist with, but yeah. Um Now it's sort of I'm going into my fifth semester now with uh still mechanical engineering, undergraduate degree. Just finished a summer class, which will hopefully let me do the capstone project, or I don't know. I'll figure something out. But like, honestly, I don't know how long it will take me to graduate. But again, my mom and sister keep saying like it's fine, take as much time as you need. But you know, it it still does kind of hurt to think about, because like honestly, I kind of feel like those conservatives who like go out and like call people the R word. Like I feel like I definitely earn it because like I'm diagnosed for ADHD. I don't have not autism diagnosis, but like it's kind of like people say they can tell, and I don't know. It's like it's just like the combination I have. It's creating a lot of like personal issues, interpersonal issues, and stuff. So, like, the idea of like full time student is like I've done it for so long, plus like summer classes, and like it is a struggle I don't think I can handle anymore. And the same thing goes for doing part time with a part time job. I honestly have no idea if I can carry that either. And so like the idea though of being a part time student and then spending money on my parents' money on projects and not having my own income, like that's a massive like what the hell am I doing sort of like I'm a waste of money sort of like but like I at least have like my family, my mom, my dad when he was still here, like they really cared and still supported me no matter what through this, making sure I just focus on school. But anyway, yeah, it's I'm making this. I don't even know why I'm making this honestly. Like, it's not like I plan to like make videos again or something. I don't even know if I may or may not start like just making like kind of like video diaries or whatever to like keep track of myself. But it's I don't know, cause like it's always stuff I want to do. Like if anything, like back before like a year ago, if I didn't get into all these like club activities and like hobbies of amateur rocketry and like RC planes, I would have tried to like probably like stream Kerbal Space Program as like like technical femboy uh aeronautical engineer wannabe and like helping with Kerbal Space Program, but like I don't know, just motivation and time. It's just difficult. Which I mean, it's also just kind of sad too. Like there's so much I've done with Kerbal Space Program that I'm proud of, but you know, like it's not something I can put on a resume. Like the kind of like hands-on projects I've done, but it's also just you know I don't know. Like there was probably something of it itself where it just became too much of a routine that it just became less motivating to do it every time. And I don't know. Honestly, that might just be an ADHD thing too, because I sometimes it does feel like a struggle to keep going with some projects because a lot of I think like there's something I saw called like I think it was like rejection sensitivity dysphoria or something, and like even when it comes to like online job application rejections, because I tried to get an internship for the summer and like it was just either no response or rejection after another, and like it it honestly kind of hit as hard as a bunch of like rejections from a bunch of people I tried to ask out. Which I don't even know why I'm bothering trying to ask out mechanical engineering guys, but whatever. Um, yeah. So okay, I think I have a recording setup I am happy with. So I wanted to record like a section to show off the cool stuff I'm doing. So this is technically the second 3D printed project I did. Because this was like what winter 2025, and I think I had a project before that. But this is a 3D printed tank shell. I think it's based off of the M82, no, M829. Let me just quickly double check that. Let me see. Yep, okay, it's based off the M829A4, at least according to this Reddit post that I'm looking at this image from, with a completely different color scheme. It's based off of some other one. Oh, it's kind of, it's just some dirt on it. But it's also something that you could take apart. This is something I actually designed on Onshape, which was something I got into from Rocketry Club, and kind of really only used because I like how it is, but just because I have a student account from my school, so I don't know. Like, I think there's something called like FreeCAD. That's probably something I should get into, but I also heard it's like a massive pain in the ass. But I digress. So yeah, this is something you can actually disassemble, and then we can take off one of the, what are those called? I think discarding sabo, I think. But anyway, yeah, you could take it apart and have like a kind of cross section to show sort of the fin corrected with the ribbed shaft here. And honestly, I think it might actually be kind of cool to print like the sort of cylinders for the actual charge inside, but these fins are kind of fragile too, so, and also that kind of just feels like a waste of filament. But yeah, discarding Sabo tank shell model. This here is, wow, this does not fit in frame at all. Let me see if I can adjust the camera. Okay, yeah, so this is the first, what do you call it? 3D printed project I did, which is a prop fan engine model. It's also, being the first project, it taught me, or, well, I didn't consider at the time when I was modeling it in Onshape that, hey, you kind of need to put in tolerances for things and consider the fact that you're 3D printing. I did not do that. So a lot of these blades, especially like these turbine blades, are way too thin for what they should be, and they got messed up. And the same thing with the compressor stages. I actually had to set them thicker so they would print correctly, but that ruined the clearances on like all the adjoining surfaces. So like it spins, but not very nice. But anyway, it's sort of a like basic prop fan model, nothing too complex. You got, honestly, I don't even know why this fan is here. It doesn't really need an intake fan because it's not a turbo fan. Then lower compressor, this is tied to the rear turbine. And then high pressure combustion tied to this other turbine. And then we have low pressure turbines in the back that are tied to the prop fan back here, which I think, what, of like the actual prop fans in use, they actually put them on the front instead. But yeah, it's pretty cool model. I would probably reprint it so, you know, it actually fits nicely together, all tolerance and stuff. But it's just a nice model that I have. Okay, and this gets into my time in rocketry at university, because this is my L1. It's based off, I forgot which kit it was, but it's like a basic 3-inch rocket, nothing too complex. Got hashtag fanboy femboy related to the mascot and stuff. Got a, well, that doesn't show up good on the camera, but sort of a anime femboy mascot, I guess, if my university had one. Sort of inspired by the... Where's Mercury? I think this is the Mercury rocket, yeah. And then, yeah, just try to make the seal of the university. Nothing too complex, it's just an upper bulkhead and payload section with a screwed-in nose cone that's prefabricated injection molded. So, off the shelf, basically. And then the tube, nothing too complex, like, it was all, like, commercial off-the-shelf stuff. Even, like, the parachute here, it's all off-the-shelf, swivel and stuff. Like, single deploy, uses the ejection charge built into the motor, and deploys shoot at apogee. So, nothing too complex there with a L1 level size kit. If I can put this back in. This will not show up. This will definitely not fit in the camera field of view, but this is my L2. It's about 6-7 inches long. 67 inches long. This one is completely different from what the club does. It's... God. I don't know if I can put this down without damaging anything. Yeah, so this is my L2. Paint scheme is inspired by... What is it called? How do I not remember it off the top of my head? Okay, so paint scheme, at least on the bottom, inspired by the Black Arrow. Same sort of femboy here, and then up top, we got a Stolfo, kind of a silhouette going on. Ooh, wow, the lighting is not happy with that. And then Boy Kisser here. And then it hasn't launched yet, because this has been through 2 launches. One was a failed launch because I accidentally taped up the parachute so the main wouldn't deploy. And I'm actually kind of surprised it survived. But after the second launch, which got me my certification, made some upgrades, so there's a camera now that I want to test fly with a very nice sort of a, I don't know if it's obvious, but very shallow sort of, I don't know, body housing. And I think the main important thing about this rocket is that it's like, other than being completely like self-designed, it was also fabricated myself. So that's getting like fiberglass cloth and epoxy and making the tubes myself. And that kind of makes it heavy, because I think like fully loaded, it's like 10 pounds. It does not get as high as the rocket kits that our club uses. But other than that, I guess the other nice feature here is also the kind of bow tail section at the bottom here. You know, like area ruling, whatever. Although I kind of really messed it up with the fins here joining up, because it's not very clean. And then these fins are like, at first I got like the cheapest wood available on Amazon, which is not what you're supposed to use. You're definitely supposed to use a stronger wood. So I had to fix it with fiberglass. And then I went back to adding carbon fiber here, which is not the nicest, but it works, I guess. And now it's a lot more stiffer and stronger. It still uses the same commercial off-the-shelf motor retainer that my L1 uses, but, you know, instead of having a massive bottom, kind of closes down to it. This was a pain in the ass to make. The whole, like, fin can here, which is actually 2 sections here. There's a break here, because technically this tube section right here, it can be replaced with a larger one, I guess. if I wanted to have like a giant motor in here. Although, if I pull out, this is, I think, the largest 38mm motor that there is, at least commercial off the shelf. So it only goes up to here. And like the issue I've been talking with like friends is like if I want to actually get higher with this rocket, I basically have to make a whole new fin can to use a larger diameter, which kind of does ruin the boat tail because obviously it's not gonna like thin as much, but you know, and at the same time too, like it's basically a whole new rocket because the fin can was the more difficult part because like I basically had to make the fin can in reverse, like physically backwards from what I was used to with my L1. But anyway, that's the fin can, which if we take it off, actually, I guess I should show the recovery. So this isn't the initial recovery hardware I had on it, but I decided to go with stronger stuff. So this is Kevlar shock line before I used nylon, which got destroyed because this thing got stuck in a tree and was a pain to get down. So now it's Kevlar. Basic, just fire blanket to protect the chute here. This chute was commercial off the shelf. And then, of course, tape comes off during actual launch because we don't want to, you know, kind of just ballistic trajectory into the ground here. That's why I have these like little tabs here as like hopefully a reminder to like stop my ADHD from letting me just launch basically a missile. And then that obviously hooks in to my recovery section, which I realized I screwed in to the upper tube. I can't be bothered to take it out though, so anyway, you have actually, is this powered on? I don't think there's any batteries in here. Oh, I'm gonna fade the camera just a little. Actually, you know what? The camera probably is recording, but safety pins with like I think they're called SS5 GL switches that like I had to make a housing for, so like the safety remove before flight pins work. And then the bulkheads are pretty similar. I have a terminal here that I just realized I'm not actually paying attention if this is on camera. So I hope at least my video editing skills can save it. But this is why is it so like right? I don't know. Anyway, so I got copper tubes that are or copper caps that are way too large for the actual like blowtorch size I would need. And then of course quick link goes here to tie it. And then if I take off the bulkhead, I don't know if I can show it, but I got a custom 3D printed, like, I don't know if I can call it like a sled, really. Actually, let me just go ahead and take off this nose cone here. Okay, I got the nose cone off. So, is this all? Okay, I guess it, no, I don't think it should. Okay, yeah, it's just tight. So, here we go. Internals, it's very packed in here. Somewhere in there is the battery and then sled that the flight computer goes on. But there's also, right now, the computer that I stole from some, like, action cam or something for the camera here on the shroud. And just a bunch of wiring mess in there. So the idea is, like, I won't have to make, like, a whole, like, massive sled. So, like, the housing for the switches stay in, and I just need to make sleds that, like, can mount on a thing that clips into place or clicks into place with these like teeth here. So that's sort of the avionics bay. shiny. I'm honestly kind of happy with how this turned out. And then we have custom nose count here. This is based off of like the Von Karman profile, I think. I don't know. I don't remember. It was like some equation. And then this nose tip here, it's actually fiberglass that I used a mold from 3D printed and then like sanded down. Although it kind of rough at the nose tip here because obviously the epoxy and fiberglass can't really survive the hardness that well, so it's a bit ruined. I don't know if it'll show up. And then all the scuff marks from fiberglass sanding. Nothing special about the bulkhead, it's just like a threaded rod that runs through. More Kerbal line for the recovery. More fire blanket that I added some Kevlar loops to make sure, because I keep having problems where like the fire blanket just shreds and rips through the recovery lines. But anyway, this is the custom parachute. This parachute has not flown yet. It's still the same material as the ones I bought commercial off the shelf. Uses ripstop nylon threading. I chose to use Kevlar shock lines because I thought like, hey, might as well, since my I probably can't show the actual full thing here, but the ones that the club uses, they'll typically like just kind of a donut cut out of a sheet and then the shock lines are sewn on. But I wanted to like, sort of learn the sewing of making a whole parachute. So I cut it into sections, and then instead of having a spill hole at the top, this one's actually based off of the T11 parachutes used by the Airborne Division of, I think it's the Army, right? I think it's the Army. So you got like spill holes on the side, and it's supposed to come out to like kind of a square shape here. Sort of reinforcement top here with a double row of stitching on like a round piece. So that's sort of the big rocketry stuff. Now I am part of another club, which honestly, like I keep saying to people, don't be part of 2 engineering clubs. That is way too much. At least like if you're gonna actively do something in those clubs, don't be part of 2 because it is so stressful. That might just be because I'm like ADHD and probably autistic though. Honestly, I might just throw this on the ground. So that leads into this project, which is supposed to be like custom designed and then fabricated from 3D printed molds fiberglass RC plane, which I know for a fact I screwed up a lot. Like, it is not that clean of an airframe, and like massively overweight. Like, I need to sand it down a lot, because I think it should be, like, probably 5 pounds max. But I think with the electronics, it already isn't enough, or it's already overweight here. But this is obviously inspired by the YF-23. It's kind of like open here because eventually at some point I do want to like create a thrust vectoring system back here. But for now, I just got like the basic servo setup for like a detail here, but it's whole moving at least, right? So, and then I got 2 50mm EDFs, which I think would actually be too small for a plane this size and weight, but literally, like, I don't think anything else can fit into here. And then there's like this whole mess here. So it used to be that like this intake duct went all the way to the actual intake hole, but I realized there was a problem where I actually don't get enough air. Apparently, something about like you should have at least like the intake area be like 150% larger than the like fan area. So took away some of the duct, and then back here, the plan is I have sort of like auxiliary intakes here, and I'm gonna cut holes in the fuselage, so maybe, hopefully, extra air can be taken in through the top here. No idea if that's gonna work. Um, got some really powerful ESCs that I don't know. Nothing notable about them. I had to pay like massive tariffs on those. I got. I don't even know if these are the right batteries, because, like, for sure I need. What are these? I think these are like 3 cells. Um, it should say. I think. Yeah, here it says 3. Yeah, so it's so 3. Yeah, so 3 cells. So I put these on separate circuits in series to get what, like 22 volts, because it needs high voltage, these ESCs and EDS. And then I don't know, like this is the highest I can get on capacity, which is not a lot, but this is as much as it can fit without it like not literally not fitting in the fuselage or being like massively overweight. And then up in the nose here, I got gear steering, nose wheel steering, stuff for the antennas, a voltage regulator, so that way I don't fry my electronics here, because the EDF use a higher voltage than the receiver servos. And then, not much else. Like, since I'm still trying to get this to, like, hopefully fly one day, the gears don't retract. It's just, I should probably take these out if I want to show. It's just, like, regular RC gear. I think I put the wheel reversed to how I wanted. But yeah, they're just bolted on. Servos and stuff. So, yeah, this is still a work in progress. Like, at the very least, it's a nice display piece, but right now it's just, like, underpowered and too heavy to fly. But it's something I'm working on. What was I talking about? Uh, something about Kerbal Space Program projects or streaming. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. Just kind of a life update, going back into the um what uh fall semester again. This is gonna be my 5th year as an undergraduate student. um Honestly, I don't know, maybe it will take me 6 years, because I still have to get an internship too. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, just it's been a tough ride. And you know, I still, like, there's a part of me that wonders if, like, my dad would be proud. And, like, honestly, I think I can say, like, he probably would be proud of what I'm doing now, but it kind of just sours it, because it's like, it's stuff I never got to show him, especially 3D printing. God, getting into 3D printing would have been so useful. Like, probably could have helped him with a lot of his projects, but that's just how life is, I guess. But yeah, gonna go into the fall semester for my 5th year. Got gonna work on some rocketry stuff because I wanna aim to get my launches in so I can do an L3 eventually, probably with my own money on my own time. And still got that RC plane project going. I'm I hope I can get it off the ground because it's so cool, and it would suck if I can't get it off the ground. And then there's obviously the competition, rocket and plane for the rocketry club and the RC plane club. But you know, that on top of classes, and then also working on like friendships and stuff, interpersonal relationships. Gonna just see where life takes me. So, guess I'll see y'all again in like a year or two, whenever I feel like making another like video or something, I guess.